All this time, you've been practicing the art of manifestation in reverse. The correct flow reveals the forgotten wisdom. Abundance isn't something you chase, it's something you allow. This audiobook will guide you back to the natural rhythm where all you seek begins to seek you. The correct flow. Introduction. You have glimpsed the art of manifestation as one might view starlight in a stormy sky, dim, distorted, and cloaked in illusion. For though your heart has been earnest and your efforts disciplined, you have been walking a path drawn backward through the sands of time. What you have been taught as manifestation was but a shadow of truth, inverted and strained. You were told to grasp, to shape, to chase the winds, yet in doing so you turned your back to the sacred current that carries all things with grace. The true path is not paved with effort, but with surrender. It does not demand force, it invites attunement. Like a river that flows without question or resistance, the universe moves in rhythms of receptivity and resonance, not in the noise of striving. Imagine the flower, silent, radiant, still. It does not summon the bee through ambition. It does not labor to produce its sweetness. It simply is, and in that perfect being, it magnetizes all it needs. Such is the forgotten way, the wisdom of the correct flow. The great reversal begins not with action, but with the sacred undoing. You are not here to mold reality with effort, but to melt the barriers that obscure its natural unfolding. The abundance you seek does not need to be earned. It longs to reach you, if only you would allow the tides to carry you home. For too long you have pushed against the stream, hunted answers, and clung to illusion. Yet the veil now thins, and the river calls. These teachings are not another weight upon your spirit. They are the lifting of veils, the returning of the soul to its original rhythm. You are not here to force the flow, you are here to remember it. Before we begin, please hit the like button and comment below where in the world you are listening from today. Part 1, Awakening to the Current. Chapter 1, The Upstream Struggle. In the distant hills where ancient waters meet weathered stone, there lived a fisherman named Samuel. Each dawn, he would wade into the rushing river, muscles straining as he cast his nets against the mighty current. For 40 years he battled the waters, believing that true abundance could only be won through fierce determination and ceaseless struggle. The best fish swim upstream, he would say, his weathered hands gripping the heavy nets. To catch them, one must fight the river itself. Yet despite his relentless effort, his catches grew smaller with each passing season, while his body bent under the weight of his labors. One morning, exhausted and discouraged, Samuel noticed a young boy sitting quietly downstream, his simple line dangling in the calm waters. The boy's basket overflowed with fish, caught with seemingly no effort at all. In that moment, Samuel realized the futility of his lifelong struggle against the river's natural flow. Like Samuel, you have been casting your nets upstream, fighting against the very forces designed to bring you abundance. The universe flows like this great river, carrying all you desire toward you, not away from you. Your struggle to manifest has been a battle against this divine current, leaving you exhausted and wondering why others seem to receive with such ease. The truth whispers in the ripples of the water. Abundance flows naturally toward those who align with its direction. When you cease pushing against life's current and instead position yourself in harmony with its flow, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Consider now the tale of the water lily that grew along this same river's edge. Young and eager, it first tried to stand rigid against the stream, believing its strength lay in resistance. Its stems grew thick and hard, yet the constant strain left it unable to bloom. One spring morning, as the waters rose, the lily surrendered its fight. Instead of resisting, it learned to dance with the current, allowing its stems to bend and sway. In this gentle alignment with the river's flow, it found its true power. Its flowers opened fully, its leaves spread wide, and it thrived in perfect harmony with the water's natural movement. Practice. As the sun rises each morning for the next 7 days, observe your life with the wisdom of the river. Notice one instance where you push against the natural flow of your day, perhaps in forcing a conversation, rushing a decision, or demanding an outcome. In that moment, choose to align with life's current instead. Like the water lily, allow yourself to bend rather than break, to flow rather than fight. Watch how this small shift in alignment brings ease to all you do. Chapter 2. The Illusion of Force. In a sunlit meadow where wildflowers danced with the morning breeze, young Martha raced through tall grass with her butterfly net held high. Her small feet carried her swiftly as she chased after every flash of colored wings, swinging her net with fierce determination. Yet with each energetic pursuit, the butterflies scattered like leaves in an autumn wind, always just beyond her reach. Nearby, her grandmother sat quietly on an old wooden bench, her hands folded peacefully in her lap. One by one, butterflies began to land upon her shoulders, their delicate wings catching the golden light. Martha watched in wonder as more butterflies gathered around her grandmother, drawn to her stillness like moths to a flame. "But how?" Martha whispered, lowering her net. "I've tried so hard to catch them." Her grandmother smiled softly. "That's precisely why they flee, little one. The harder you chase, the faster they fly away. You have been like Martha in the garden of your desires, swinging your net with determined force at every dream that catches your eye. Yet the universe operates on a principle as delicate as a butterfly's wing. What you pursue will always remain just beyond your grasp, while what you allow draws naturally toward you. The law of attraction responds not to the energy of chase, but to the magnetism of alignment. When you strain and strive, you create the very resistance that keeps your desires at bay. Like the butterflies sensing Martha's desperate pursuit, your dreams sense your forceful energy and retreat further from view. Consider now the tale of Thomas, the eager gardener who believed he could speed nature's rhythm. Each day he would venture into his garden, pulling at flower buds, trying to coax them into early bloom. His impatience led only to broken stems and damaged blooms, until an old sage taught him the wisdom of allowing. "The flower knows when to open," the sage explained. "Your role is not to force its petals apart, but to create the conditions where blooming becomes inevitable." Thomas learned to tend the soil, provide water, and ensure adequate sunlight. He discovered that when he stepped back and allowed nature's timing to unfold, his garden flourished beyond his wildest dreams. Practice. Over the next 3 days, whenever you catch yourself forcing an outcome, pause and ask, "How can I create space for this to unfold naturally?" Let this question guide you from the energy of pursuit to the power of allowing. Like Thomas in his garden, shift your focus from forcing results to creating conditions where your desires can naturally bloom. Chapter 3. The Backwards Compass. In the bustling markets of an ancient trading city, a merchant named Charles devoted his life to following what he believed was his truest guide. Each morning he would consult his prized compass, inherited from generations of successful traders before him. Year after year, he journeyed faithfully in the directions it indicated, yet prosperity remained mysteriously beyond his reach. One day, exhausted and perplexed, he rested beneath a wise old tree where a traveling sage sat in meditation. As Charles absent-mindedly twirled his compass, the sage's eyes opened. "May I?" the sage asked, gesturing to the instrument. Upon examining it, a gentle smile crossed his face. "All these years," he said, "you've held it upside down. You too have been following an inverted compass in your manifestation journey. The ancient teachings reveal that most modern methods direct your energy outward, frantically seeking external signs and results. Yet the universe's deepest wisdom shows that true manifestation flows from within, from alignment with your essential nature rather than pursuit of outer desires. When you chase manifestations, you mirror Charles's misguided wanderings. Your authentic desires already exist within you as seeds of potential, waiting not to be pursued, but to be discovered through inner attunement. The compass of your soul points not to what you should want, but to what you truly are. Consider Eleanor, the lighthouse keeper who served at the edge of storm-dark waters. Night after night she would spot ships in the distance and anxiously swing her beacon toward them, hoping to guide them to safe harbor. Yet in her desperate attempt to reach each vessel, her light became erratic, confusing rather than clarifying the way. Through months of solitude and reflection, Eleanor realized a profound truth. When she simply maintained her light's steady glow, ships naturally found their way to harbor. Her role was not to chase ships with her beam, but to shine with unwavering clarity. Like Eleanor's lighthouse, your manifestation energy serves best when it radiates from your centered presence rather than searching restlessly for results. Each time you anxiously scan the horizon of your life for signs of manifestation, you redirect your inner light away from its natural power to attract and align. The universe responds not to the desperate reach of your desires, but to the steady radiance of your authentic being. When you shift from asking, "What do I want?" to what wants to emerge through me, you align with the deeper current of creation that flows through all things. Practice. Set aside 10 minutes each day for quiet reflection. Rather than focusing on external desires, ask your inner compass, "What wants to emerge through me?" Let the answer arise naturally from your depths like a lighthouse beam cutting through fog to reveal what was always there. Chapter 4. The Paradox of Pursuit. In the depths of an ancient forest where wisdom whispers through leaves that have witnessed countless seasons, there lived a merchant named William. Each day at dawn, he would venture into the woods, determined to catch rabbits to sell at market. His pursuit was relentless, darting between trees, leaping over fallen logs, his hands forever grasping at empty air as cottontails vanished into the underbrush. Hours turned to days, days to weeks, yet success remained elusive. Exhausted one afternoon, William collapsed beside a patch of wild carrots. As his breathing settled and his movement stilled, something remarkable occurred. The very creatures he had chased so desperately began to emerge from their hiding places, drawn naturally to both the carrots and his quiet presence. This tale mirrors your own relationship with manifestation. When you chase your desires with desperate energy, you broadcast a powerful message to the universe, one of absence, of lack, of separation from what you seek. This very pursuit creates the distance you're trying to overcome. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, responds to your energy of chasing by maintaining the gap, for that is the reality you're energetically affirming. The cosmic law reveals itself with elegant simplicity. Pursuit creates distance, while stillness invites approach. Your constant reaching tells the universe, "I don't have." And the universe, being a perfect mirror, reflects back that very state of not having. In a garden not far from Williams Forest, a cat named Ginger learned this same truth through her own experience. Day after day, she would stalk the birds that visited her garden, her predatory focus intense and unwavering. Yet the more she stalked, the more elusive they became, until the garden fell silent of birdsong. Then came the day when Ginger, grown older and perhaps wiser, simply rested in the sunshine. Her hunting instinct quieted, her energy softened. To her amazement, the birds began to return. Some even perched nearby, sensing no threat in her peaceful presence. You have been like both William and Ginger, emanating the energy of the hunter, the pursuer, the one who lacks. This predatory approach to manifestation sends mixed signals to the universe. While you claim to want abundance, your desperate seeking broadcasts scarcity. While you affirm prosperity, your anxious pursuit speaks of absence. Practice. For the next 7 days, become aware of when you slip into pursuit mode, that familiar energy of chasing, seeking, grasping at your desires. When you notice this pattern, consciously shift into invitation mode by becoming still and receptive. Let your energy say, "I welcome," rather than "I chase." Observe how this subtle shift begins to transform your relationship with manifestation. Chapter 5, The Time Trap. In a small village where time seemed to flow like honey, there lived a gardener named Henry, who believed that constant vigilance would speed the growth of his beloved plants. Each morning, he would kneel beside his garden beds, measuring the height of every seedling, fretting over leaves that hadn't unfurled and wondering why nature's pace felt so maddeningly slow. His neighbor's garden, in contrast, flourished with minimal attention. Lush vegetables ripened in their own time, flowers bloomed in perfect sequence, and abundance seemed to flow effortlessly. While Henry exhausted himself with worry, his neighbor simply tended the soil and trusted in nature's wisdom. Your manifestations mirror this same principle. When you fixate on timing, the when of your desires, you create subtle disturbances in the cosmic order. Like Henry's anxious attention, your preoccupation with speed actually introduces resistance into what would otherwise be a natural unfolding. The universe operates on an intelligence far beyond human scheduling. Each manifestation has its perfect moment of emergence, guided by forces that orchestrate countless variables into precise alignment. Your role is not to force this timing, but to align with it. In the heart of the same village lived Sarah, a clockmaker known for her exquisite timepieces. Early in her craft, she would constantly adjust her creations, believing that frequent tinkering would lead to greater accuracy. Yet she discovered something remarkable. The more she interfered with their mechanisms, the more erratic they became. It was only when she learned to trust the inherent precision of her work that her clocks achieved their legendary accuracy. This wisdom applies directly to your manifestation practice. Your impatience creates temporal interference patterns, distorting the natural timing of your desires. What you perceive as delay is actually the ripple effect of your own anxious energy. The universe isn't delivering late. Your rushing energy is disrupting the perfect synchronicity of delivery. When you release your grip on timing, you allow manifestation to flow through its natural channels. Just as Sarah's clocks found their rhythm when left to their own precision, your desires materialize most efficiently when you trust the cosmic timing. Practice. Whenever you catch yourself wondering when something will manifest, transform that energy by asking instead, "What if it's happening now in ways I can't yet see?" Rest in this mystery. allowing yourself to feel the peace of perfect timing unfolding in its own way. Let your heart settle into a space of deep trust, knowing that the universe's orchestration is far more intricate and beautiful than your limited perception can grasp. Just as a seed grows beneath the soil long before its shoot breaks through to sunlight, your manifestation is already in motion through countless invisible channels. Your role is simply to maintain unwavering faith while the cosmic forces align every necessary element with divine precision. Chapter 6: The Emotion Engine Running Backwards. In a weathered workshop at the edge of town, Frank the mechanic spent countless hours hunched over an engine that defied all logic. No matter how he adjusted the timing, replaced the parts, or fine-tuned the mechanisms, the engine persisted in running backward. His frustration mounted with each failed attempt, until one transformative morning when he discovered the truth. The main gear had been installed in reverse, causing the entire system to operate contrary to its design. You have been approaching manifestation with this same reversed mechanism. Like Frank's backward-running engine, your attempts to manufacture specific emotional states to attract your desires have been creating resistance rather than flow. The universe responds not to engineered feelings, but to authentic emotional alignment. When you force yourself to feel abundant while scarcity gnaws at your consciousness, or vibrate joy while processing natural sadness, you create an internal conflict that reverses the manifestation. These artificial emotional states send mixed signals to the cosmic forces, much like trying to drive forward while your gears are set in reverse. True manifestation power emerges when you allow your authentic emotions to guide you toward alignment. Each feeling serves as a precise indicator of your relationship with universal flow. Sadness points to where healing is needed. Anger reveals where boundaries require restoration, and joy naturally emerges when you're in harmony with your path. In the heart of the city lived Grace, a musician whose melodies once drew crowds to tears. But as fame beckoned, she began forcing herself to feel inspired on command, believing she could manufacture the emotional depth that had once flowed naturally through her music. The more she tried to conjure specific feelings, the more mechanical and lifeless her compositions became. It wasn't until she surrendered to her genuine emotional landscape that her music regained its soul-stirring power. Your manifestation practice mirrors Grace's journey. When you try to override your authentic emotions with forced positivity or manufactured high vibrations, you create dissonance in your energetic field. Like Grace's contrived compositions, these artificial states produce results that lack the power of genuine alignment. The key lies not in controlling your emotions, but in allowing them to serve as messengers of alignment. When you honor your true feelings, they naturally evolve and transform, carrying you into states of authentic attraction. Practice. For the next 5 days, observe your emotions without attempting to alter them. When feelings arise, simply ask, "What is this emotion telling me about my alignment?" Let each feeling be your teacher, revealing where you're in flow and where you're running in reverse. Chapter 7: The Vision That Blocks. In the light-filled studio atop the city's highest hill, James stood before his canvas each morning, meticulously painting the same scene, a magnificent house overlooking the ocean, with every detail precisely rendered from the white picket fence to the red roses climbing the trellis. Day after day, he recreated this vision with unwavering dedication. Yet his real-life canvas, his actual circumstances, remained stubbornly blank. You, like James, have been taught to visualize your desires with crystal clarity. This teaching, though well-intentioned, reveals only half the truth. When you grip your vision too tightly, Demanding the universe deliver exactly what you picture, you unknowingly construct barriers against the infinite possibilities awaiting you. The universal force moves through channels of possibility, not through rigid corridors of expectation. Your detailed mental pictures, rather than attracting your desires, often become prison walls that trap your manifestations in limited forms. The cosmic artist holds a palette far richer than your imagination can conceive. James discovered this truth only when exhaustion forced him to loosen his grip on the brush. As he allowed his vision to flow freely, the painting began to transform with each session. Some days the house appeared larger, other days smaller. Sometimes the ocean shifted to a mountain view, or the roses became wildflowers. In this surrender to creative flow, he found that his actual life circumstances began to shift, bringing opportunities he never could have imagined. In the heart of the ancient city lived Dorothy, an architect renowned for her breathtaking designs. Yet her masterpiece emerged only when she abandoned her detailed blueprints and instead held only the essence of what she wished to create: harmony, light, and grace. As she allowed the universal architect to guide her hand, forms emerged that transcended her original vision, creating spaces that seemed to dance with life itself. When you release your grip on specific outcomes, you open yourself to the universe's greater wisdom. Rather than demanding the exact shape of your desires, attune yourself to their essence. Instead of visualizing the precise details of a home, connect with the feelings of security, peace, and belonging you seek. Rather than picturing a specific career path, align with the essence of purpose, creativity, and abundance. Practice. For the next 7 days, whenever you find yourself visualizing specific outcomes, gently shift your focus to the essential qualities you seek. Ask yourself, what is the essence of this desire? Allow the universal artist to paint your life's canvas with colors beyond your current imagination. Chapter 8. The Dance of Inspired Action. Robert stood rigid in the dance studio, his muscles tense as he counted steps in his head. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Despite years of training and countless hours of practice, his movements remained mechanical, lacking the spark that transforms dance from mere motion into art. Night after night he drilled the same sequences, believing that perfection lay in precision, until exhaustion drove him to collapse on the studio floor one evening. As he lay there, a soft melody drifted through the window from a street musician below. Without thinking, his body began to sway, responding naturally to the rhythm. In that moment, Robert discovered what years of forced practice had hidden. True dance flows through you, not from you. You have approached manifestation like Robert's early dancing, as a series of prescribed steps to be mastered and executed. You create vision boards, recite affirmations, and follow action plans with mechanical precision, wondering why your desires remain just out of reach. The universe, however, moves to its own music, a cosmic melody that requires not rigid adherence to formulas, but fluid response to inspiration. When Robert finally surrendered to the music, letting it guide his movements, audiences wept at the beauty of his performances. He had discovered the secret that mastery lies not in controlling the dance, but in becoming a vessel for its expression. In the wilderness, Lisa guided rafts through treacherous rapids, initially fighting against every surge and swirl. Each journey exhausted her as she attempted to force her way through the water's natural patterns. But nature taught her what years of training could not, that the river itself knows the way. The day Lisa stopped fighting and started feeling the water's rhythm, everything changed. She learned to read the currents, to anticipate the flow, and to guide her raft with minimal effort by working with the river rather than against it. Her journeys transformed from battles into dances, each rapid an opportunity to align with the water's wisdom. This is how the universe moves through your life, not as an obstacle to be overcome, but as a current to be joined. Your predetermined plans and forced actions create resistance, exhausting you while taking you further from your desires. True manifestation emerges when you sense the universal flow and allow it to guide your movements. Practice. Before any action, pause and ask, does this action feel like flow or force? Notice the subtle difference between pushing against resistance and moving in harmony with universal currents. When you sense tension or struggle, step back and observe. The timing may not be right, or a different path may be waiting to reveal itself. Act only when you sense flow, that gentle, almost effortless alignment with the natural order. Allow what doesn't flow to remain undone, trusting that all things unfold in their perfect season. This simple practice will transform your relationship with action, helping you discern between ego-driven force and divinely guided movement. Chapter 9. The Outcome Anchor. Young Edward's boat sat low in the water, its magnificent sails catching the wind yet barely moving forward. Day after day he added more anchors to his vessel, believing their weight would provide stability and ensure he reached his intended harbor. The more anchors he carried, the more his journey slowed, until his ship barely inched across the waves, despite the favorable winds filling his sails. When the seasoned captain approached his stranded vessel, Edward expected advice about stronger sails or better navigation. Instead, the old sailor simply pointed to the collection of anchors weighing down the deck. "Anchors belong to the sea, not the ship," he said softly. "Each one you carry is a harbor you haven't left behind. You have been sailing your manifestation vessel in much the same way, weighed down by attachments to specific outcomes that belong in the past. Each precise result you cling to becomes an anchor, creating drag against the universal winds that would naturally carry you toward your highest good. Your grip on particular outcomes has transformed your ship of creation into a vessel of resistance. The universe operates through infinite channels, yet you have been trying to force its flow through the narrow passages of your predetermined expectations. Like Edward's anchors, these attachments create weight where there should be lightness, resistance where there should be flow. High in the mountains, Alice charted her course with meticulous precision, marking every handhold and footstep she planned to take. Her map became her master, causing her to overlook natural paths and easier routes that nature had already carved into the rock face. She struggled against sheer cliffs while gentler slopes lay just beyond her rigid focus. Only when she learned to read the mountain itself, rather than her predetermined route, did Alice discover that the easiest path often revealed itself in the climbing. Her willingness to release her grip on specific routes allowed her to flow with the mountain's natural design, leading her to heights she never could have planned. Your manifestation journey mirrors Alice's early climbing, so focused on your planned route that you miss the natural pathways the universe has already prepared. Each specific outcome you clutch becomes a forced climb up a sheer face, while an easier path lies waiting in your peripheral vision. Practice. Each day, consciously release one specific outcome you've been gripping tightly. Speak these words with intention. I release this to create space for something better. Then step back and observe with wonder what the universe brings forth to fill that space. Like Alice discovering new paths on the mountain, Your surrender opens doorways to possibilities beyond your limited vision. Trust that what flows into the space you create will serve your highest good, even if it differs from your original desire. Make this practice of conscious release a sacred ritual, a daily reminder that your openness to life's flow brings forth treasures far greater than your mind could have planned. Chapter 10. The Frequency Foundation. Benjamin sat hunched over his radio equipment in the dim light of his station, frustration etching deeper lines into his weathered face. For months he had adjusted every dial, replaced every component, and tested every connection. The signal he sought remained elusive, though others reported receiving it clearly. His fingers danced across the controls, making microscopic adjustments while missing the fundamental truth. The signal was already there, broadcasting with perfect clarity. You have been operating your manifestation equipment in much the same way, endlessly adjusting external factors while overlooking the simple matter of receiver alignment. The universe's broadcast never ceases. It transmits abundance, joy, and fulfillment continuously. Yet, like Benjamin, you've been focusing on the dials instead of the receiver itself. Your frequency state, the vibrational signature you emanate, determines what signals can reach you from the universal broadcast. When your receiver is misaligned, no amount of external adjustment will bring in the transmission you seek. This truth revolutionizes everything you've understood about manifestation. It is not about doing more or trying harder, but about tuning your internal equipment to its natural resonant frequency. In her workshop among the hills, Rebecca crafted tuning forks with meticulous care. Early in her career, she attempted to force each fork into producing specific tones, fighting against their natural resonance. The results were always slightly off, creating discordant vibrations that quickly faded. The breakthrough came when she learned to listen to each fork's inherent frequency, allowing its true note to emerge through careful alignment with its essential nature. The forks that sang most purely were those crafted in harmony with their natural resonance. No amount of forcing or adjusting could improve upon this fundamental alignment. Those who purchased these forks often remarked that they seemed to vibrate with an almost magical clarity, though Rebecca knew it was simply the power of honoring their true frequency. Your manifestation capacity operates by these same principles. When you attempt to force yourself into artificial vibrational states, you create the equivalent of a poorly tuned fork. Your manifestations emerge distorted and unstable. But when you align with your authentic frequency, reality naturally organizes itself around your true vibration. Practice. Spend 7 minutes daily tuning into your body's natural vibration without trying to change it, asking, "What is my authentic frequency right now?" Allow yourself to simply observe the subtle energies flowing through you, much like a musician listening to the pure tone of a tuning fork. Notice where you feel resistance or harmony, tension or ease. This practice of deep listening will gradually attune you to your true resonance, enabling you to distinguish between forced states and natural alignment. As you develop this awareness, you'll find yourself naturally drawn toward choices and actions that honor your authentic frequency. Part 2, Aligning with the Flow. Chapter 11. The Current of Being. In the bustling marketplace of the ancient city, Daniel adjusted his silk robes for the 100th time that morning. His carefully practiced gestures mimicked those of the wealthy merchants he had studied for years. Each morning he would arrange his hair just so, practice their distinctive way of walking, and rehearse their manner of speech. Yet despite his perfect imitation, prosperity seemed to flow around him like water around a stone. You have been caught in this same pattern, believing that success requires becoming someone else. The universe responds not to performance, but to authenticity. When you attempt to conduct manifestation energy through an artificial self, you create resistance in the very channel meant to carry abundance to you. Your natural state, like pure copper ready to conduct electricity, holds perfect manifestation properties. Every attempt to alloy yourself with borrowed traits creates interference in this natural conductivity. The universe recognizes only authentic frequencies, making genuineness the ultimate attracting force. In her workshop at the edge of town, Esther discovered this truth through years of metalwork. She had spent countless hours trying to enhance copper's conductivity by mixing it with other metals, attempting to create something better than its natural state. Each experiment resulted in diminished flow, until she finally understood. Copper in its pure form already possessed the perfect properties for conducting energy. The metals taught Esther what life teaches all who listen, that each substance, each being, holds unique properties that function optimally in their natural state. Her most successful work came when she stopped trying to improve the copper and instead learned to work with its inherent qualities. This revelation mirrors your own journey with manifestation. Every time you adopt another's energy signature, their way of speaking, thinking, or being, you create resistance in your natural conducting channels. The universe seeks to flow through your authentic self, not the carefully constructed persona you present to the world. Your true self is like an unalloyed metal, pure, conductive, and naturally attractive to the frequencies of abundance. When you strip away the layers of performance and imitation, you discover that the very essence you've been trying to change is actually your greatest manifestation asset. Practice. For the next 5 days, become a mindful observer of your own energy. Notice the moments where you catch yourself performing, adopting mannerisms that aren't truly yours, speaking in ways that feel slightly forced, or making choices based on others' expectations rather than your inner truth. When you discover these instances of performance, pause and take a deep breath. Then consciously choose to express yourself authentically, even if the shift feels microscopic. Perhaps it's letting your voice take on its natural tone rather than the one you've cultivated for business meetings, or allowing your genuine reaction to show rather than the one you think others expect. Remember, this isn't about dramatic transformations, but about honoring the subtle whispers of your true self. Each small choice to be authentic rather than perform strengthens your connection to the universal flow of abundance. Chapter 12. The Breath of the Universe. In the grand concert hall, Clara stood before her violin, her fingers tense with anticipation. For years she had practiced relentlessly, following the metronome's rigid beat. Yet something remained missing, a subtle disconnect that left her playing mechanical rather than magical. One evening, as she sat quietly in rehearsal, Clara noticed something extraordinary. Before each piece began, the entire orchestra shared an imperceptible breath, a moment of pure potential that shaped everything that followed. This collective inhale carried the essence of the music itself, as if the universe was drawing breath through the assembled musicians. You too have been following life's metronome, marking time with mechanical precision, while missing the cosmic breath that orchestrates all manifestation. The universe moves in cycles of expansion and contraction, like a great celestial lung drawing in and releasing creative energy. When you align with these natural rhythms, manifestation becomes as effortless as breathing. Each phase of universal breath serves a sacred purpose. The inhale gathers potential, the exhale releases creation. The pause between breaths holds wisdom that cannot be rushed. Your resistance arises when you fight these natural cycles, demanding expansion during contraction, or forcing action during times of gathering power. George discovered this truth on the rolling seas, where his initial attempts to chart straight courses against the waves left him exhausted and off course. One storm-filled night, when fighting the ocean proved futile, he surrendered to its rhythm. In that surrender, he discovered that waves themselves carried messages, patterns that, once understood, revealed the safest and swiftest routes to any destination. The ocean taught George what the universe teaches all who listen, that within its apparent chaos lies perfect order. Each swell contained information about those that would follow, creating a language of motion that spoke to those patient enough to learn it. This wisdom lives in your own experience of manifestation. When you push against the universe's natural contractions or rush its moments of gathering power, you create the very resistance that blocks your desires. The cosmic breath moves through all things, through cycles of abundance and apparent lack, through periods of intense activity and deep rest. Practice. Morning and evening, attune yourself to the sacred breath that flows through all of creation. As you inhale and exhale with conscious awareness, feel how your own breath mirrors the cosmic tides of expansion and contraction. In these moments of stillness, ask yourself, where is the cosmic current taking me? Let the answer arise naturally from deep within, untouched by the mind's expectations or fears. Then, with the gentle surrender of a leaf carried by a stream, align yourself with whatever truth emerges. Trust that this alignment, however subtle it may seem, positions you perfectly within the universal flow of manifestation. Chapter 13. The Path of Least Resistance. High in the mountains, Harold strained against unyielding stone, his tools striking sparks as he attempted to forge a new path where none existed. For years he had believed that creating required force. That manifestation meant carving your desires into the very bedrock of reality through sheer determination. You have approached manifestation with this same exhausting mindset, believing that your will must overcome all obstacles. Yet the universe holds a gentler truth. The paths to your desires already exist, worn smooth by the flowing waters of time. One misty morning, Harold noticed deer tracks weaving through the landscape. Following their trail, he discovered ancient waterways that had carved natural passages through the mountains over countless centuries. These pathways offered effortless progress where his forced routes had yielded only resistance and fatigue. This revelation mirrors a fundamental truth about manifestation. The universe has already prepared channels for your desires to flow through. When you encounter resistance, it signals not a need for greater force, but an invitation to seek these pre-existing pathways. Like water finding its course through stone, universal energy naturally seeks the most efficient route to manifestation. Consider how lightning illuminates this principle. In the instant before striking Earth, the electrical charge sends out exploratory tendrils, testing multiple paths. Yet the bolt always follows the route of least resistance, completing its journey in perfect efficiency. This is not a choice made through conscious deliberation, but rather an expression of universal law. Energy naturally flows where it meets the least obstruction. You see this wisdom reflected in your own manifestation journey. Those times when creation felt like striking stone with bare hands revealed not a need for greater effort, but a sign that you had wandered from your natural pathway. The resistance itself was a message pointing toward easier routes you had overlooked in your determination to force a specific path. The mountain itself teaches this truth through its very formation. Water does not fight the rock, but follows its natural contours, and in doing so, creates passages that endure for ages. These waterways become guides for all who follow, showing how patient alignment accomplishes what force cannot. Practice. When meeting resistance in any form, pause and ask, what path might I be missing that requires less effort? Then remain open for unexpected routes to reveal themselves. Let your inner wisdom guide you to recognize the subtle signs and gentle nudges that the universe provides. Often, the solution lies not in pushing harder against the obstacles before you, but in stepping back to observe the alternative pathways that have always existed. Like water finding its natural course, your energy will flow most freely when aligned with these hidden passages. Trust that the universe has already prepared an easier way forward. You need only attune yourself to perceive it. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Art of Divine Receptivity. In a small village among ancient hills, Margaret devoted her life to crafting bowls of increasing perfection. With each passing season, she added more clay, building thicker and sturdier walls, believing that strength meant greater capacity to receive. Yet as her vessels grew more substantial, they paradoxically held less and less water. You have approached manifestation with this same misconception, believing that doing more, preparing more, and fortifying yourself creates greater capacity for receiving. Yet the universe operates on a principle that seems at first glance to defy logic. It is space, not substance, that determines capacity. One morning, as Margaret sat with her heaviest creation yet, wisdom dawned like the first rays of sun through morning mist. The bowl's purpose lay not in its walls, but in its emptiness, the space within that welcomed water's embrace. This revelation transformed not only her craft, but her understanding of universal law. Receiving requires not fortress-like strength, but the courage to remain open. Through Margaret's journey, you discover that manifestation flows most abundantly not to those who grasp tightly or build impenetrable defenses, but to those who cultivate the art of sacred receptivity. This is not passive waiting, but an active state of allowing, a conscious choice to create space within yourself where abundance can gather. The story of Pearl Lake deepens this understanding. High in mountain valleys, Pearl discovered that when her waters churned with anticipation or anxiety, the moon's reflection scattered into countless broken pieces. Only when she grew still, accepting her natural state, did her surface become a perfect mirror for celestial light. In this stillness, she held more beauty than any amount of movement could capture. You see yourself in these waters, recognizing how your eager striving to receive has created ripples that distort the very abundance trying to reach you. Like Pearl, your greatest receiving power lies not in motion but in mindful stillness, not in reaching out but in opening up. Practice. Twice daily, sit with empty hands resting gently in your lap, and practice receiving whatever thoughts and sensations arise without judgment, training your receptivity muscles gradually. Let each experience flow through you like water moving through a stream, some fast, some slow, but all accepted equally. In these sacred moments of stillness, you build the invisible yet powerful capacity to receive life's abundance with grace. Morning and evening, dedicate at least 5 minutes to this practice of pure acceptance, knowing that each session strengthens your ability to remain open to the universe's infinite gifts. Chapter 15. The Sacred Pause. In the misty mountains of the east, there lived an archer named Nathan whose determination to hit his mark led him to practice from dawn until dusk. With each arrow he lost, his frustration grew. The harder he tried, the further his arrows strayed from their targets. His rapid-fire approach, born of modern urgency, betrayed the ancient art he sought to master. You, too, have been shooting arrows of intention with such haste, believing that speed equals manifestation power. Yet the universe operates in the spaces between action, in the quantum field where all possibilities exist simultaneously. One day, a master archer appeared at Nathan's practice ground. Without words, the master demonstrated a single shot. And in that moment, Nathan witnessed the sacred pause, that infinite space between drawing the bow and releasing the arrow. In this pause, time seemed to stretch, and Nathan observed how the arrow aligned not just with the target, but with the very fabric of creation. This eternal moment holds the key to masterful manifestation. When you rush from desire to action, you bypass the quantum gateway, where the universe infuses your intentions with divine intelligence. This space between thoughts, between breaths, between movements, this is where manifestation receives its cosmic coordinates. High in the mountains, the great Victoria Falls taught this same wisdom through her endless dance. At first, her waters simply fell, but through eons of flowing, she discovered that the journey through air, that precious pause between cliff and pool, transformed mere descent into a magnificent cascade. Each droplet, suspended momentarily in space, became a prism for sunlight, creating rainbows that would never exist without this sacred interval. Your manifestations require this same suspended animation, not as delay or hesitation, but as the crucial moment where possibility crystallizes into its highest expression. When you eliminate this pause, rushing from intention to action, you collapse the quantum field of infinite potential into its most limited form. Practice. Before each important action, include a 5-second pause where you sense cosmic timing, asking, "Is this divine right action right now?" This sacred interval allows universal wisdom to flow through you, revealing whether the moment is truly aligned with your highest purpose. Feel into the subtle energies surrounding your intention, the whispers of divine guidance that emerge in stillness. Notice how your body responds, for it is an instrument finely tuned to celestial rhythms. Act only when the answer feels clear, resonating through your entire being with unmistakable certainty. In this way, you become a conscious co-creator with the universe, moving in perfect harmony with the cosmic dance of manifestation. Chapter 16. The Gratitude Portal. In the depths of a stone fortress, Walter traced his fingers along cold walls that had confined him for 7 years. Each morning, as other prisoners cursed their fate, he chose a different path. He began with gratitude for the smallest gifts, the ray of sunlight that crossed his cell, the bird song that filtered through iron bars, the rhythm of his own breath. At first, this practice seemed futile against such stark confinement. Yet as days turned to months, Walter noticed subtle shifts in his perception. The solid walls began showing hints of transparency, not in physical form, but in their power to contain his spirit. His appreciation had been quietly dissolving the boundaries of his limited reality. Through Walter's journey, you discover the profound mechanics of gratitude as a force of manifestation. When you appreciate what exists in your present moment, you activate a vibrational frequency that naturally attracts its exponential expansion. This isn't mere positive thinking, it's quantum mechanics in spiritual form. Like a master key that unlocks invisible doors, gratitude creates energetic bridges between what is and what could be. Your appreciation for current circumstances, even those you wish to change, establishes resonance with higher possibilities already existing in potential form. In a distant village, Betty crafted mirrors for the royal court. For years, she attempted to create brighter reflections by adding layers of new material to her mirror's surfaces. Her breakthrough came when she discovered that simply polishing what was already there revealed a luminosity that had been present all along. Betty's revelation mirrors your own journey with manifestation. When you resist current circumstances by focusing on what's missing, you inadvertently maintain the very gaps you're trying to close. Yet when you polish present reality with appreciation, you unveil the abundance already waiting to emerge. Practice. Each night before you rest, find genuine gratitude for 3 situations or circumstances that currently challenge you. See these obstacles not as barriers, but as teachers guiding you toward greater wisdom. As you acknowledge what these challenges have awakened within you, whether patience, strength, or understanding, feel appreciation transform your resistance into acceptance. This simple yet profound practice opens doorways for manifestation, for what you appreciate in return. Let your heart soften toward these difficulties, knowing they are preparing you for the very blessings you seek to manifest. Chapter 17, The Trust Transmission. In the midst of a raging tempest, Captain Roland gripped his ship's wheel with white knuckles, muscles straining against nature's fury. For 20 years he had conquered storms through sheer force of will, plotting precise courses and battling each wave as a personal challenger. Yet on this night, as lightning split the sky and waves towered like mountains, exhaustion finally overcame his iron resolve. In that moment of surrender, Roland discovered something extraordinary. As his hands relaxed their death grip on the wheel, he felt the winds shift from adversary to ally. The same forces he had fought now gently guided his vessel through channels of calm he had never noticed in his desperate struggle. Through Roland's experience, you uncover the profound mechanism of trust in manifestation. When you release your grip on outcomes, you broadcast a clear signal to the universe, one that activates natural support systems already in place. Your trust becomes a beacon that cosmic forces recognize and respond to instinctively. Most seek to manifest through careful planning and rigid control, creating interference patterns in the universal field. Yet true manifestation flows through trust, which transmits your desires at their purest frequency. Like a radio signal finally freed of static, your uncluttered broadcast reaches the universe with crystal clarity. Deep within the soil lay Solomon, a seed who studied endless growth strategies but remained dormant. He calculated optimal sunlight angles, researched proper nutrient ratios, and planned each stage of his emergence. Yet only when winter's cold forced him to release his careful plans did Solomon discover the earth already knew exactly how to nurture his growth. Solomon's journey reflects your own relationship with trust in manifestation. Your constant monitoring and adjustment of circumstances creates resistance to the very support systems designed to assist you. When you release the need to orchestrate every detail, you allow universal intelligence to guide your unfolding naturally. Practice. Each day, identify one situation where you feel compelled to control outcomes or micromanage details. Notice the tension this creates in your body and spirit. Then consciously practice surrendering to divine timing by repeatedly affirming, "I trust the process," until you feel a genuine sense of peace and relaxation wash over you. Let this simple yet profound practice remind you that the universe holds infinite wisdom in orchestrating your good. As you feel resistance arise, gently return to your affirmation, allowing each repetition to deepen your faith in the natural unfolding of life's perfect plan. Chapter 18: The Intuition Compass. High in the misty mountains, Jerome clutched his detailed maps with trembling fingers. For 3 days he had wandered in circles, his logical mind insisting that each carefully plotted route would lead him to safety. Yet with each calculated turn, the forest grew denser, and home felt further away. As darkness approached on the third evening, exhaustion finally silenced his analytical mind. In that quiet moment, Jerome noticed something he had been too busy thinking to feel, a subtle tugging sensation in his solar plexus, like an invisible thread pulling him gently leftward. Though his maps suggested otherwise, Jerome surrendered to this mysterious guidance. Through this tale, you glimpse the profound truth about intuitive navigation and manifestation. Your rational mind creates elaborate strategies, plotting every possible route to your desires. Yet true manifestation operates through an inner knowing that transcends mental logic. This knowing speaks not in words or concepts, but through bodily sensations, emotional resonance, and energetic pulls that often defy rational explanation. When you silence the constant chatter of analysis, you discover an internal guidance system far more sophisticated than any mental map. Think of your intuition as a cosmic GPS, receiving direct downloads from universal intelligence about right action, divine timing, and perfect alignment. While your mind can only process what it already knows, intuitive guidance connects you to infinite possibilities that logic could never conceive. Patricia, a dowser seeking underground springs, spent years studying geological theories and water table patterns. Her knowledge was vast, yet her success rate remained low. One day, releasing her books and theories, she simply held her dowsing rod and allowed herself to feel the Earth's subtle electromagnetic frequencies. Suddenly, water locations revealed themselves not through mental deduction, but through distinct energetic signatures her body could sense directly. Patricia discovered that Earth itself communicated precise guidance when she stopped drowning out its signals with analytical noise. Like Patricia, you have been relying on mental strategies to manifest your desires, creating elaborate plans while ignoring the clear guidance constantly broadcasting through your intuitive channels. Your inner compass points unerringly toward aligned manifestation, but its subtle signals cannot compete with the loud static of overthinking. Practice. Each day this week, select one meaningful decision and commit to making it purely through intuitive guidance. Rather than constructing mental lists of pros and cons or analyzing every possible outcome, pause, center yourself, and allow your inner wisdom to illuminate the path forward. Notice how your body responds to different options: tension versus expansion, heaviness versus lightness. Trust the subtle signals that arise. Document both your intuitive choice and the results that follow in a simple journal. As you build this practice, you'll discover that the universe responds with increasing synchronicity when you align with your natural inner compass, rather than forcing outcomes through mental effort alone. Let your heart's wisdom guide the way, and watch as manifestation unfolds with greater ease and grace. Chapter 19: The Present Moment Gateway. Photographer Arthur roamed the countryside with his expensive camera, constantly scanning the horizon for the perfect shot. His mind raced ahead to future moments, imagining dramatic sunsets and rare wildlife encounters. Yet, whenever these scenes actually unfolded, he found himself too busy anticipating the next opportunity to fully capture the one before him. Through this perpetual chase of tomorrow's perfect moment, you glimpse a fundamental truth about manifestation. The universe delivers its gifts not in some distant future, but in the eternal now. When your awareness constantly reaches forward in time, it creates an energetic scatter that dilutes your manifestation power. Consider how presence acts as a cosmic lens, focusing universal energy into a concentrated beam of creative force. Just as sunlight passing through a magnifying glass gains tremendous power at its focal point, your consciousness creates maximum manifestation impact when fully focused in the present moment. This sacred now contains within it all possibilities, all potential, all power. Yet most seek their desires in an imagined future, missing the abundant opportunities that exist in each breath. The present moment is not a stepping stone to manifestation. It is the only place manifestation can occur. High in an ancient clock tower, Minerva witnessed countless humans rushing through their days, always reaching toward tomorrow while barely touching today. Through her centuries of observation, she recognized a profound truth. Time itself exists only in the eternal present. The past and future are mental constructs that drain power from the now, the sole point where creation occurs. You see in Minerva's wisdom how your own manifestation efforts have been misdirected. By constantly projecting your creative energy into future moments, you've been diffusing the very power needed to transform this moment into the reality you seek. The universe responds not to what you want to create tomorrow, but to the quality of presence you embody today. Practice. For the next 7 days, set hourly reminders on your phone or watch to pause and ask yourself, what manifestation possibilities exist in this exact moment? Allow this question to anchor you in the present, drawing your awareness to the fertile field of creation that surrounds you now. Notice the synchronicities, chance meetings, sudden inspirations, or quiet promptings that arise when you align with the eternal now. Remain particularly alert to immediate opportunities that present themselves, a conversation that could lead to a new path, an idea that sparks creative action, or a small choice that might cascade into greater transformation. Each time the reminder sounds, let it serve as a sacred bell calling you back to your power in the present moment, where all true manifestation begins. Chapter 20. The Energy Economics of Creation. In a bustling workshop filled with half-finished inventions, Theodore labored endlessly over complex machinery. His hands bore the scars of countless hours spent forcing metal and wood into submission, yet his creations never achieved the elegant simplicity he envisioned. Each night, he collapsed into exhausted sleep, only to wake and resume his struggle against the very materials he sought to transform. One evening, seeking respite from his frustrations, Theodore wandered to a nearby canyon. As sunset painted the ancient rock walls, he noticed how water had carved perfect channels through solid stone, not through force but through patient alignment with natural laws. In that moment, the universe revealed its fundamental principle of efficiency: maximum impact through minimal resistance. When you align with universal currents, manifestation requires no more energy than a river needs to flow downhill. Your exhaustion signals misalignment with cosmic efficiency, a sign that you're attempting to carve your own path rather than discovering the one already prepared by universal intelligence. Consider how the universe achieves its grandest creations. Galaxies spiral, planets orbit, and seasons change through perfectly balanced energetic equations. No force is wasted, no effort spent without purpose. This same principle governs your manifestations. though modern teachings often obscure this truth beneath layers of complicated techniques and strenuous practices. In a small workshop across town, Lillian crafted master keys with remarkable precision. For years, she had believed that stronger metal and more intricate cuts would create better keys. Yet she discovered that the perfect key required only precise alignment with the lock's internal mechanism. Force merely damaged both key and lock. Through her art, she revealed how manifestation operates not through power, but through perfect positioning with universal forces. You see now how your manifestation efforts have often resembled Theodore's early attempts, forcing outcomes through sheer will and depleting your energy in the process. The universe offers leverage points where minimal input creates maximum output, but finding these points requires shifting from force to finesse, from pushing to aligning. For 1 week, carefully observe the relationship between your energy expenditure and manifestation results. Notice when you find yourself pushing, straining, or attempting to force outcomes through sheer willpower. In these moments, consciously pivot toward a state of relaxed alignment, like a key sliding effortlessly into its lock. Document instances where ease produced better results than force. Pay special attention to those synchronistic moments when minimal effort yielded maximum impact. These are your clues to the universe's natural leverage points. At the end of each day, reflect on whether your manifestations flowed from a place of alignment or emerged from an exhausting struggle. This practice will gradually attune you to the difference between forcing against universal currents and flowing gracefully with them. Part 30, Living the Flow. Chapter 21, The Quantum Field Dance. In a sunlit studio atop the city's highest tower, Norman hunched over his drafting table, surrounded by precisely measured blueprints and carefully calculated designs. For decades, he had approached architecture as a mathematical equation to be solved, believing that perfect buildings emerged from perfect plans. Yet despite his meticulous attention to detail, his designs often felt lifeless, technically flawless, but lacking the spark that transforms structure into sanctuary. One extraordinary morning, as golden light filtered through his studio windows, Norman experienced something unprecedented. As his hand moved across the paper, he felt himself entering a state of flow where design seemed to materialize through him rather than from him. The building he drew appeared to exist already in some ethereal dimension, merely using his consciousness as a bridge to physical reality. When you understand the quantum nature of manifestation, you realize that every possibility exists simultaneously in a vast field of potential. Your consciousness acts not as a creator, but as a selector, drawing forth specific realities from an infinite array of options. This truth liberates you from the burden of forcing outcomes into existence, revealing instead how to dance with quantum possibilities. In a distant valley, Master Weaver Ruth discovered this same principle through her craft. Her loom held threads that seemed to exist in multiple states at once, shifting and shimmering as she approached them with different intentions. She learned that by remaining open to possibility, rather than fixating on predetermined patterns, her tapestries would reveal designs more magnificent than any she could have planned. Through these sacred teachings, you begin to see how your attempts to rigidly define outcomes have been limiting the quantum field's natural tendency toward optimal manifestation. By releasing your grip on specifics, you allow your desires to materialize through multiple dimensions simultaneously, often arriving in forms far superior to your original vision. The universe operates as a quantum dance of infinite possibility, waiting for conscious participation to crystallize potential into reality. Your role is not to force this crystallization, but to engage with it intentionally, allowing your consciousness to naturally select the highest possibilities available at any moment. Practice daily. Spend 5 minutes in quantum meditation, sensing potential realities existing around you simultaneously, asking, which possibility wants to emerge through me? Then allowing spontaneous choices to arise naturally. As you sit in stillness, imagine yourself at the center of infinite threads of possibility, each one vibrating with its own unique frequency of manifestation. Feel how these threads respond to your consciousness, some growing brighter while others naturally fade. Trust that your higher self knows which path holds the greatest alignment with your soul's purpose. Let your breath flow easily as you remain open to unexpected directions and surprising solutions that transcend your limited planning mind. This practice will gradually attune you to the quantum field's natural intelligence, teaching you to dance with possibility rather than force specific outcomes. Chapter 22. The Divine Partnership Method. In the fertile valleys of an ancient land, Farmer Arthur toiled endlessly against the soil. Year after year, he approached his fields as a commander, approaching troops, issuing stern orders to the earth through rigid planting schedules and harsh chemical treatments. Despite his relentless efforts, his harvests remained mediocre, while his neighbors' crops flourished with seemingly minimal intervention. One dawn, exhausted from his constant battle with nature, Arthur sat quietly in his fields. As morning light painted the horizon, he witnessed an intricate dance between soil and seedlings he had never noticed before. The earth wasn't his subordinate waiting for commands. It was a living intelligence engaged in countless simultaneous acts of creation. When you align with universal intelligence, you discover that manifestation operates through collaboration rather than control. The cosmos holds wisdom accumulated across eons, orchestrating infinite processes with perfect precision. Your role isn't to direct this vast intelligence, but to dance in partnership with it, allowing your desires to merge with its creative flow. Virginia, a skilled shipwright, learned this lesson through her craft. For years, she forced timber into predetermined shapes, fighting against each plank's natural grain. Her vessels proved serviceable, but required constant maintenance. Everything changed when she began studying the wood's inherent patterns, designing her ships in harmony with the material's natural inclinations. These boats moved through water with unprecedented grace, as if the ocean itself welcomed their presence. Through these experiences, you begin to understand how your manifestation efforts have been limited by relying solely on personal will. The universe isn't your servant awaiting instructions. It's an infinite creative force inviting partnership. When you approach manifestation as collaboration rather than control, you tap into possibilities far beyond individual conception. Practice. Before major decisions, sincerely ask, Universe, what would you like to create through this situation? Then remain receptive to guidance arriving through unexpected channels. Watch for signs in nature, chance encounters, or sudden insights that illuminate your path. Release the need to force outcomes through sheer determination. Instead, cultivate an attitude of wonder and openness, treating each moment as a conversation with the infinite. When you approach life's crossroads with genuine curiosity rather than rigid demands, you'll find the universe often has greater plans than you could have conceived alone. Trust that divine wisdom flows most freely through a mind at peace. Chapter 23. The Abundance Attunement. In the depths of the earth, Miner Frank swung his pickaxe with determined force, venturing ever deeper into darkened tunnels in search of elusive gold. Day after day, he descended into new shafts, convinced that wealth lay just beyond the next rock face. Yet each evening as he climbed wearily into bed, golden veins gleamed silently in the foundation beneath his pillow, their radiance hidden from his searching eyes. You have been like Frank, seeking abundance in distant places while overlooking the wealth that surrounds you in every moment. The universe's natural state is one of infinite abundance, every atom vibrating with potential, every breath carrying possibilities, every moment pregnant with opportunity. What appears as lack is merely misalignment between your perception and the abundance frequency already broadcasting through all of creation. When you tune your inner receiver to abundance's wavelength, you discover that seeking itself creates the illusion of separation from what you desire. Like adjusting a radio dial, perception shifts not through effort but through alignment. The wealth you seek isn't hiding. You've been looking with eyes calibrated to scarcity. Grace, who spent countless hours at her radio set, demonstrates this principle perfectly. For months, she heard only static, adjusting controls with increasing frustration. Then one day, sitting in perfect stillness, she discovered the precise frequency where music had been playing all along. The broadcast hadn't changed, only her ability to receive it. You have been operating on the scarcity channel, scanning reality through filters that interpret abundance as absence. This distorted frequency creates a form of spiritual static, drowning out the constant transmission of universal wealth. Yet the moment you tune to abundance's wavelength, you recognize it has been playing the symphony of infinite possibility throughout your entire journey. Practice. For 7 days, consciously notice 3 forms of abundance that were always present but previously invisible. From the air you breathe to the sunlight that warms your skin, to the countless opportunities that surround you daily. Make note of the endless flow of life-sustaining oxygen, the infinite wisdom contained in every book and teaching, and the boundless potential that exists in each moment of your day. As you document these observations, you will find your perception naturally shifting from scarcity to abundance, like adjusting a lens that has always been slightly out of focus. Watch as the world transforms before your eyes, not because it has changed, but because you have tuned yourself to its inherent abundance. This simple yet profound practice will gradually dissolve the illusion of limitation, revealing the ocean of possibility in which you have always been swimming. Chapter 24, The Effortless Effort. In a remote mountain temple, Samuel dedicated himself to mastering the martial arts through sheer determination. Day after day, he practiced elaborate combinations of moves, believing that complexity equaled mastery. His muscles strained as he attempted to memorize intricate sequences, convinced that perfection lay in the most complicated techniques. Yet his master achieved extraordinary results through movements so simple they appeared effortless. Where Samuel would use 10 movements, his master required only 1. While Samuel exhausted himself with forceful strikes, his master's gentle touches sent opponents flying. The principle of wu-wei, effortless action, eluded Samuel until he witnessed his master deflect a charging bull with a slight shift in stance. You have been approaching manifestation like Samuel, believing that elaborate rituals and complex techniques will yield greater results. Yet the universe operates through elegant simplicity. When you observe nature, you see how rivers carve canyons not through force but through consistent flow, how flowers bloom not through strain but through natural unfolding, how planets orbit not through effort but through alignment with cosmic forces. The locksmith Helen spent years mastering intricate lock mechanisms, creating increasingly complex keys for seemingly impenetrable doors. Yet one day, While crafting her most elaborate key yet, she noticed something profound. When a key matched a lock's pattern perfectly, it turned without any force at all. The lock yielded not to complexity but to precise alignment. Your manifestation process has become cluttered with unnecessary steps, like using a key with too many ridges when a simpler one would suffice. Each added layer of complexity creates another point of potential misalignment. The universe responds not to the intricacy of your methods, but to the purity of your alignment with natural law. Practice. Examine your most intricate manifestation ritual, the one filled with elaborate steps, specific timing, and detailed requirements. Strip away each layer until you reach its purest form. Which elements truly resonate with your inner knowing? Which were added from doubt or fear? Create a simplified version that maintains only the core elements that feel authentically aligned with your spirit. You may discover that a single focused intention held in perfect clarity manifests more powerfully than a dozen complicated steps. For 1 week, alternate between your original complex ritual and this simplified essence. Notice which approach creates more flow, which feels more natural, which produces results with greater ease. Through this practice of conscious reduction, you will find that simplification paradoxically increases effectiveness by allowing for deeper, more precise alignment with universal law. Chapter 25, The Reality Tuning. In the quiet halls of a prestigious conservatory, Oliver labored tirelessly at his piano, meticulously crafting melodies one note at a time. His compositions, while technically perfect, felt mechanical, products of mental effort rather than divine inspiration. Night after night, he would arrange and rearrange notes like puzzle pieces, believing that mastery lay in conscious construction. Everything changed when an ancient master shared a forgotten truth. Music already exists in its complete form within the quantum field. The art lies not in building songs from scratch, but in attuning consciousness to frequencies where finished compositions already reside. As Oliver learned to shift his awareness, entire symphonies began downloading into his consciousness instantaneously, not as fragments to assemble, but as complete works waiting to be transcribed. You have been approaching manifestation like Oliver's early attempts at composition, trying to construct your desired reality piece by piece through external manipulation. Yet lasting change emerges not from rearranging surface circumstances, but from fundamental shifts in your internal frequency. When you align with the reality where your desire already exists, outer conditions naturally reorganize to match this inner attunement. High in her mountain observatory, astronomer Dorothy invested fortunes in increasingly powerful telescopes, believing that better equipment would reveal deeper cosmic mysteries. Her breakthrough came not through technology, but through the realization that different star systems broadcast on distinct consciousness frequencies. By learning to tune her awareness rather than her instruments, Dorothy accessed astronomical knowledge that no physical telescope could capture. Like Dorothy's initial focus on telescopes, you've been trying to manifest by manipulating external tools and circumstances, while maintaining internal misalignment with your desires. This creates manifestations that require constant energy to sustain, like holding a beach ball underwater instead of allowing it to float naturally. True transformation occurs when your internal reality shifts to match the frequency of your desired experience. Practice. Choose one persistent external challenge that you've been trying to force into alignment through sheer effort and willpower. Then ask yourself, what internal reality would make this circumstance naturally resolve itself? Rather than focusing on changing the outer conditions, spend time each day consciously tuning to that internal state of being. Like a radio seeking the perfect frequency, adjust your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs until you find the vibration where your desire exists as a natural expression of who you are. Remember, the external world must eventually conform to your sustained internal reality, just as water must flow downhill. Make this inner attunement your priority, trusting that the outer circumstances will naturally shift to match your new frequency. Chapter 26, The Mastery of Non-Doing. In a sun-dappled garden on the outskirts of a quiet village, Benjamin tended his plants with obsessive precision. Each morning he measured soil moisture levels, adjusted plant positions by millimeters, and scrutinized every leaf for signs of imperfection. His carefully managed plots received exact amounts of water, fertilizer, and pruning, according to rigid schedules he developed over years of study. Yet in the furthest corner of his garden, where fallen seeds had scattered beyond his reach, wildflowers burst forth in vibrant displays that surpassed his cultivated beds. Vegetables sprouted voluntarily between stones, producing harvests more abundant than his methodically planted rows. The untended spaces revealed nature's own intelligence at work, following patterns far more sophisticated than human planning could devise. Through this living metaphor, you glimpse a fundamental truth about manifestation. The universe already knows how to create perfection. Your role is not to control every detail, but to remove obstacles and allow natural processes to unfold. Just as Benjamin's interference actually hindered his garden's potential, your attempts to micromanage manifestation often disrupt the very outcomes you seek to create. In her sunlit studio, sculptor Emily approached a massive block of marble with predetermined sketches and precise measurements. Yet her masterpiece emerged only when she set aside her plans and learned to listen to the stone itself. The figure already exists within, she discovered. My task is simply to remove what conceals it. You see yourself in Emily's journey, how your rigid manifestation protocols and careful strategic planning have been like trying to impose forms onto stone rather than revealing what naturally wants to emerge. The universe holds infinite intelligence, requiring only your trust and allowance to bring forth creations far beyond what your limited perspective can envision. Through both Benjamin's garden and Emily's sculpture, you recognize how your controlling tendencies have been disrupting natural manifestation patterns. By constantly interfering with universal processes, you've been inadvertently blocking the very outcomes you desire. True mastery lies not in forcing reality to conform to your will, but in stepping back and allowing cosmic intelligence to work through systems already in place. Practice. Select one manifestation desire, something you wish to bring into your life. Then practice the art of non-doing for 3 full days. During this time, observe without intervening, allowing the natural unfolding to occur just as water flows downstream without resistance. Make no attempts to force outcomes or manipulate circumstances. Instead, watch with gentle awareness as the universe orchestrates events in perfect divine timing. Note carefully how situations improve when you step back and surrender control, trusting in the infinite intelligence that governs all creation. This exercise will reveal the profound power of allowing rather than forcing, teaching you to dance in harmony with universal forces rather than struggle against their flow. Record your observations and insights about how stepping aside creates space for miracles to manifest. Chapter 27, The Cosmic Timing Oracle. In a small workshop filled with the gentle ticking of timepieces, Charles meticulously calibrated his clocks to match the standardized time. Despite his precision instruments and exacting measurements, he found himself perpetually misaligned with life's most significant moments. Business opportunities slipped through his fingers when he arrived moments too late, while precious connections dissolved when he appeared too early. his timing perpetually out of sync with the natural flow of events. One evening, as he sat frustrated amid his mechanical masterpieces, a peculiar thing occurred. The rhythmic ticking of his beloved clocks began to fade, replaced by a subtle pulsation he had never noticed before, the heartbeat of the universe itself. In that moment of surrender, Charles discovered that true timing flowed not through gears and springs, but through invisible currents of cosmic energy. Through this revelation, you begin to understand that manifestation operates on a schedule far more sophisticated than human measurements can capture. The universe moves in cycles of ripeness and gestation, expansion and contraction. Your attempts to force outcomes into artificial time frames create resistance against these natural rhythms. In a small village, Judith quietly tended her garden under moonlight, paying no attention to conventional planting calendars. While her neighbors adhered strictly to traditional growing seasons, she attuned herself to subtle energetic shifts, the whispered messages of celestial bodies, the hidden pulses of Earth's magnetic fields. Her harvest flourished with supernatural abundance, each crop emerging at precisely the perfect moment, as if nature itself conspired to ensure her success. You recognize how your own manifestation efforts have been thwarted by rigid timelines and arbitrary deadlines. Like Charles with his mechanical clocks, you've been measuring cosmic timing with instruments too crude to detect its true rhythm. Every forced action, every premature movement has created ripples of resistance in the universal flow. The wisdom becomes clear. Successful manifestation requires attunement to divine timing. Just as Judith learned to feel the perfect moment for planting, you must develop sensitivity to the subtle signals that indicate energetic ripeness. The universe operates with impeccable precision, but on a schedule that transcends human calculation. Practice. Instead of setting rigid timelines for your manifestations, attune yourself to the natural rhythm of universal timing. Before taking any significant action, pause and ask yourself, does this feel ripe with cosmic timing? Is the universal energy aligned for this step? Cultivate your inner sensitivity to divine synchronicity. Let your intuition guide you to those precious moments when the cosmic forces have prepared the way. Act only when your deepest interior sensing gives clear, unmistakable affirmation, when you feel that gentle but certain nudge from the universe itself. In this way, you move in harmony with the grand cosmic dance, rather than forcing your way against its flow. Trust that the universe's timing, though sometimes mysterious, is always perfect. Chapter 28, The Intention Without Attachment. In the mountain village where Catherine crafted arrows, her initial approach mirrored your own relationship with manifestation. Her white-knuckled grip on each shaft, her intense focus on achieving perfection, reflected the way you've been holding your intentions, so tightly that they cannot breathe, so rigidly that they cannot evolve. Through years of dedication to her craft, Catherine noticed something peculiar. The arrows that flew truest weren't those she had labored over with precise control, but those she had shaped with a gentle touch, allowing the wood's natural grain to guide her hands. This revelation mirrors the cosmic truth about intention, that your desires gain momentum not through forceful grip, but through clear vision paired with spiritual surrender. You've been attempting to manifest by maintaining ironclad control over outcomes, much like Catherine's early attempts to force materials into submission. But the universe operates through paradox. The tighter you grasp, the more your desires slip through your fingers. True mastery lies in holding clear intention while releasing attachment to specific forms. In a sunlit studio across the valley, Floyd discovered this same principle through paint and canvas. Having struggled for years to reproduce exact visions from his mind, he one day allowed his brush to move with freedom, maintaining only the essence of his intention while releasing all expectations of the final image. What emerged surpassed anything his limited imagination could have conceived. A masterpiece born of cooperation between artistic vision and universal creativity. You see yourself in Floyd's journey, recognizing how your tight grip on specific outcomes has been restricting the universe's ability to deliver enhanced versions of your desires. When you insist that manifestation arrive exactly as imagined, you inadvertently close the door to greater possibilities waiting in the quantum field. Practice. Set one weekly intention using this formula. I intend, desire, or something better. Then consciously practice releasing your grip on the outcome daily through breathing exercises. Each morning, sit quietly and visualize your intention floating like a leaf on a gentle stream, trusting in the universe's wisdom to guide it to its highest expression. As you inhale, acknowledge your desire. As you exhale, release all attachment to how it manifests. This simple yet profound practice aligns you with the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of creation, allowing enhanced versions of your desires to flow naturally into your experience. Remember, your role is not to force or control, but to plant the seed of intention and nurture it with trust. Chapter 29, The Sacred Integration. High in the mountains, Marcus labored tirelessly to join two cliff faces, his hands calloused from attempting increasingly complex bridge designs. Each mechanism he devised seemed more intricate than the last, yet none achieved the seamless connection he envisioned. His breakthrough came not through engineering text, but through observing how tree roots wove themselves naturally across ravines, creating living bridges that strengthened over time. You have approached manifestations similarly, treating spiritual principles as external techniques to be applied rather than truths to be lived. Like Marcus's early attempts, you've created elaborate systems that require constant maintenance rather than allowing natural integration to occur. The universe operates through seamless unity, not compartmentalization. When you separate spiritual practice from daily living, you create artificial divisions that require bridges of effort to cross. Yet true manifestation flows naturally when spiritual principles infuse every moment, like breath moving through your body without conscious direction. In a small village bakery, Rose discovered this truth through her craft. Initially, she followed recipes with rigid precision, adding ingredients separately and forcing them to combine. Her breads were adequate but never achieved the transcendent quality she sought. Everything changed when she began understanding how ingredients naturally called to each other, creating spontaneous integration that produced perfect rising without manipulation. You recognize your own pattern in Rose's journey. You've been treating manifestation as a separate practice to be performed rather than a natural expression of aligned living. This separation creates resistance where there should be flow, effort where there should be ease. When spiritual principles truly integrate with daily life, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. No longer must you switch between spiritual and practical modes. They become one unified flow, each moment infused with conscious creation. Practice. Choose one spiritual principle learned from this book and practice living it naturally for 7 days, allowing spontaneous application rather than forced repetition, noting moments of genuine integration. Let this principle weave itself into your daily routines without strain or conscious effort. You might find it arising during morning meditation, while preparing a meal, or in conversation with others. Pay attention to how it naturally expresses itself through you. much like Rose's baking transformed when she stopped forcing the process. Record these moments of seamless integration in your journal, focusing not on the quantity of times you practice, but on the quality of each authentic expression. This gentle approach will reveal how spiritual truth naturally permeates all aspects of life when we release our grip on controlling the process. Chapter 30. The Eternal Current. High in the mountains, Isabella stood at the river's edge, her shelves weighted with decades of hydrological research. She had mapped every eddy, calculated each current velocity, and documented the river's seasonal patterns with scientific precision. Yet true understanding remained elusive until the day she set aside her notebooks and stepped fully into the flowing waters. You have approached manifestation similarly, studying techniques and principles as though observing them from the riverbank of separation. Like Isabella's early efforts, you've attempted to understand the cosmic current as something external to be accessed, measured, and utilized. The universe reveals its deepest secret when you recognize that you are not separate from the creative force you seek to harness. You are not a being attempting to access universal power. You are that power expressing itself in human form. This truth dissolves the illusion of separation that creates all sense of lack or limitation. Just as Isabella discovered herself as the river incarnate, you are the eternal current of creation taking temporary form. Your desires do not arise from a place of lack, but emerge as the universe expressing its infinite potential through your unique configuration. When you know yourself as the current, rather than someone trying to direct it, manifestation becomes as natural as water flowing downstream. Consider Phoenix, a drop of ocean water who spent countless lifetimes seeking unity with the vast sea. Through all his spiritual questing, he never realized that his very essence was identical to the ocean he sought. His search ended not through finding something new, but through recognizing what had always been true. He had never been separate from the ocean's limitless expanse. All techniques and teachings ultimately serve as fingers pointing toward this singular recognition. You are not a separate self trying to manifest desires, but the infinite current of creation, expressing itself through form. This shift in identity from seeker to source dissolves the very foundation of struggle and effort in manifestation. Begin each day by embracing this profound recognition. I am not accessing the current, I am the current flowing. Let these words resonate in your heart as you awaken, feeling the truth of your infinite nature. Throughout your daily activities, observe how this fundamental shift in identity transforms your relationship with manifestation. Notice how desires arise naturally and effortlessly when you recognize yourself as the very force of creation. Watch as the weight of trying to make things happen dissolves into the graceful flow of allowing life to express itself through you. This simple yet powerful practice will gradually dissolve the illusion of separation and reveal your true nature as the eternal current of divine expression. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Through these sacred chapters, you have traced an ancient path of remembrance, each revelation bringing you closer to the fundamental truth that has awaited your recognition since time immemorial. Like a river returning to its source, your journey through manifestation's mysteries has led you back to yourself, not as a seeker of power, but as power itself, expressing through human form. Every challenge you encountered served as a gateway to this understanding. When manifestations seemed delayed, you were being prepared for deeper alignment. When efforts appeared futile, you were being guided toward surrender. When techniques failed to produce results, you were being shown that no technique can replace true recognition of your nature. The struggle itself was your teacher, gradually dissolving the illusion of separation until you could see what has always been true. You are not the operator of universal forces, but their living expression. Like a wave realizing it has always been ocean, you now understand that manifestation flows not from what you do, but from what you are. This wisdom lives not in words, but in the silence between them, where the eternal current moves without resistance. You have become that current, no longer swimming against life's flow, but recognizing yourself as the flow itself. Your desires arise not from lack, but as the universe expressing its infinite potential through your unique configuration. From this place of recognition, abundance flows naturally, just as trees yield fruit without forcing, and magnets attract without effort. You have merged back into the ocean of being, understanding that all desires manifest not through secret formulas, but through remembering your true nature. Every breath now carries creative power. Every heartbeat pulses with universal intelligence. Every thought collaborates with infinite wisdom. The separate self who once struggled has dissolved into the eternal current, leaving only the pure awareness that you are manifestation itself, the cosmic creative force expressing through this precise form in this exact moment. This completion marks not an ending but an eternal beginning, for you have remembered what you have always been, the correct flow itself, moving in perfect harmony with the universe that breathes through all existence. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.